In the heart of the dense Kenyan forest, where the trees whispered secrets and the shadow danced with the wind, there lies a tale that has been passed down to generations. The tale of a young girl. The tale of the snake girl. Long ago, at the edge of the forest, lived a man named Bashiru and his wife Amina. Bashiru and Amina had been married for 12 years without a child. Bashiru was a great hunter. He was known for his bravery and great hunting skills. One day, he goes into the forest to hunt as usual. He shot into the air only to discover that he had caused a generational havoc. His dog hovered into the bush only to discover a snake that has been killed by his shot. Bashiru's hunting dog drives his attention to where the snake was shot dead, and he realizes that he had killed one of the goddesses of the forest. This was a sacrilege. This was a taboo. Bashiru, scared and unsure of his actions, left the forest in a hurry, ran back home and kept the secret to himself. The very next morning marked the beginning of disaster in the community. Stocks started dying. The land became dry. Trees withered. The rivers got dry. There was drought and famine, including hunger in the land. Everybody became worried, unsure of what tomorrow holds. Zawadi, the village sorcerer, took it upon herself to inquire of the gods what the problem was. Then she realizes that a sacrilege was committed. A baby python was shot dead in the forest. Reasons why the gods are angry. The only appeasement that the gods needed was that whosoever caused this calamity would bear a child, and this child would take over from the baby python. The child will be a servant in the python world, and she will stand as a bridge between humans and the snakes. Who would this child be? Zawadi brought this news to the village. Everywhere was calm, and people began to look at each other. Who must have committed these acts? Who? Bashiru said to himself, "Thank the gods, I have no child. I have been married for 12 years without an issue. I guess it is not now that the gods would give me a child. So, this does not concern me," he said to himself. She found a hut for herself very close to the forest. There she lived alone, rejected, lonely and frustrated. The villagers, surprised of her sudden mysterious pregnancy, decided to avoid her. They began to suspect that she could actually have been the one the gods spoke about. They saw her as both their problem and their joy. Their problem because an action that is related to her had caused famine and drought in the land, and their joy because she would equally bring a solution to their problem. On a lonely night, she fell into labor. Zawadi the sorcerer got the signs, came visiting, and finally aided her to give birth. Child was born, one who would bridge the gap between the snake world and humans. The solution to the problem of the community. Her name was Amani. Amani was born with special and rare features, ranging from her skin tone to her hair to everything about her. She was so mystical, yet beautiful. Most villagers wished to associate with her, but the fear of her not being full human made them run away from her most times. Therefore, she was lonely without friends. All her communication link came from the snakes in the forest. That was the only place she found solace. That was the only place she was understood and not judged. From time to time, Amani visited the forest, where she had solemn assembly with the snakes, where she communicated the problem of humans to the snakes and took their instructions back to humans. She stood as a bridge between the human world and the snake world. Amani's life continued this way. She was only going to be free at the instance of true love. Now, who was gonna love a girl who was half human, half snake? One of her usual visits to the forest, she got hold of a rose flower. She held on so tight to it and wished she could actually find true love. It was as though the gods had heard her plea, because on her next visit, she stumbled into a young man named Zakiri. Zakiri was the son of the soul who recently came back from the city and decided to take a tour around. To his greatest surprise, he found a beautiful damsel seated all alone in the middle of the forest. "What could an angel like this be doing here?" he asked. "I came to have a quiet time," she replied. "So can I join you?" "I promise I wouldn't say a word." They sat close to each other, just admiring each other without saying a word until they went back to the village. They set another appointment, and another, and another, and another. Mani would not stop reminding herself of her predicament and how difficult it was to find true love. The Azul kingdom is confronted by bandits who come to disturb the stability of the kingdom. The elders were overwhelmed by their threatening attack because they had no one to defend the land. Amani hears of this and reassures the elders that she would defend her land and its integrity. Day came, the bandits attacked as promised, and Amani represented as promised. The attack got tough. The snakes came to the aid of their own very one. With their help and intervention, Amani was able to defeat the bandits. The presence of the snakes came as a surprise to Zakiri, who stood by the corner and watched, because he had never seen a thing like this before. Could Amani be a snake girl? He asked himself. After the fight, he approached her for clarifications. She explained her predicament to him, and he promised to stand by her against all odds. Amani finally found true love. Together they went back to the forest to meet the Python Queen, and there the spell was broken. Amani became free, and she lived her life like every other maiden in the village. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share my YouTube channel. Bye-bye.